All right, well, here we go. It is Monday evening. It's April 6th. Great to see you guys. I know that it is spring break for a lot of people, so I'm glad that you guys are here. And I had a few people tell me they couldn't be on, but they would watch the recording. So I have got so many notes. This is insane for tonight's topic on personal development. It was something that just kind of hit me square in the face. And I thought, you know what, we need to talk about this because it could be a definitely missing and defining factor in our individual businesses and our team as a whole. So, but before we jump in, I always like to start every meeting with tell me something good. So you can come off mute or drop in the chat. Let's have two or three people just share something good that's happened since we met last time. Could be in your personal life, could be about the Easter weekend, could be something with a client.
Yeah, I'll share something.
Oh, I would love that, Lori. Go ahead.
So I've been very slow to develop my business, but my two clients that I have right now are doing so fantastic. They've lost 53 and 42 pounds, and they are just about getting ready to transition. So they really have been doing wonderful, and I'm so proud of them and the work that they've done.
Wow, that's a great testimony to you as their coach too, being right there beside them. And kudos for you getting rid of your habits of health right now while you're multitasking with the meeting. And yeah, I would imagine they could be potential great referral sources for you as well.
I keep telling them about it, but I don't know. They live a very they're a husband and wife couple, and they live a very busy lifestyle. And I keep telling them they can have free money. They just send me some clients, and I don't know. It just hasn't panned out yet, but
Okay. Yeah.
we'll
Well,
see.
keep sharing or ask about, if anybody noticed how, like how could you be 50 pounds down? Like who's noticing? Um,
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I know that makes you happy, and that makes me happy. It's just such a great testimony to our program. And I think sometimes we can forget, right, how powerful and life-changing it really is for
Yes.
somebody. So I see in the comments, Gina, you had one of one of your very first clients.
Yeah, she was an early client, not one of the first, but she was an early client, just texted me out of the blue. And we've stayed in touch just to follow up and stuff. And she said, "Are you still coaching?" I said, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "Because I'm ready. It's the only thing that's ever worked. And I've tried everything since, and I know better." So here we go.
Wow. Isn't that funny? So often people resist what works, right? Because there is, structure to it and some restriction, but that's shockingly what gets us results. So, yay, glad she saw the light. And Linda, that's fantastic. How did she get your job form? Do you know? You're muted. Yeah.
I'm guessing from her address on the jot form that she's a referral from another reactivated client that I'm working with right now. So
Ooh.
I hardly ever have people that have the same area code as me. So I was like, whoa, Virginia, where's this coming from? And then I saw the town and I'm assuming that's where she's from. So we'll see. So I have to get back to my current client and make sure that she puts that little notification in the app so that if she does become a new client, that client number one gets the $50, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's fantastic. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
We'll see.
Yay. Good stuff. All right. Well, good. Well, we had a lot of good stuff happen in the month of April, a lot, or month of March, as we're entering this new month. So a lot was celebrated in the group, but I always just kind of like to do a highlight summary. And just know that all of us are contributing, like whether or not you see your name on this screen, what you're doing is making a difference in the lives of others. And very often our efforts, you might be putting in the efforts, not yet seeing the outcomes that you want, but just notice that your efforts are noticed and appreciated, and you will see the fruits of that. So let me share my screen real quick. All right. And Gina, can you see my screen? All right, cool.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can.
All right, beautiful. So for the month of March, these coaches up on the screen all had one or more new clients. Some had two, and one had three. So that is fantastic. So congratulations to everyone whose name is up on that screen for continuing to share with individuals, follow up with individuals, and see that through. And our very own Ellen Stewart. I know she's on, not, I don't think she's on screen, but Ellen earned the 3% client support bonus again for helping three new clients. And she worked hard for those all the way up to the very end of the month. Shauna and Frank killing it with their volume. They were actually like $800 shy of 20,000 volume. So about a $6,000 increase from the month before. So well done. Shauna's not feeling well tonight, but Frank, I know you're representing. So congratulations on that. And then Meg, Kelly, and myself each had 10,000 or higher in frontline volume. So this is representing how many personal orders of our clients and coaches that we support directly in the volumes there. And then Meg and myself, fully integrated business coaches, meaning that we're not only servicing just clients, but helping teams of coaches grow and with senior coach levels or above. So that's something that's real important to me that I would love for everybody to accomplish because it's just a great way to multiply. And then this was really huge. I know Frank had dropped it in the group, but Optavia is offering the rank advancement bonuses, and you get the bonus a second time if you can maintain that new rank for a second, consecutive month. Because we know once you build to a new rank, the trick is to then sustain it. So congratulations to Kelly and to Ellen for doing that. And Ellen crossed over with executive director on her own with volume for the first
Wow.
time and with a senior coach. And her senior coach, Temperance, there was not a bonus involved, but very significant, earned senior coach for the second time in a row. And she worked really hard for that as well. And then Julie came in strong at the end of the month and qualified for Go Global, meaning that she had met the requirements of meeting executive director a certain amount of time during that time period. So that is always huge when you meet the qualifications for an event. And then look at this, you guys, as a team, 18 new clients. I want you to notice this 45 reactivated clients. This number is climbing every single month. And so just like Gina, had somebody come back, people are out there, they're waiting. I actually had a call with my physician today about something else, and somehow we got on the subject of the GLP-1s, and he was talking about people are hitting walls with the GLP-1s, rapid weight regain afterwards, muscle loss. It's all something that he is seeing. And I don't know if these individuals are in that, but I think some people have done the program, left, and are coming back. And it's such a huge, huge opportunity, especially as we're expanding into metabolic health. And speaking of which, our March metabolic reset, we've had 43 participants in this. We're entering our final week. And communication engagement has been really strong this time, which is great. Definitely seeing the difference with us coaching to the metabolic factors of body fat percentage, metabolic age, visceral fat, definitely making a difference in people's outcomes and their excitement and their motivation. And then we did our team's metabolic reset call, and 52 people participated live, and this replay number continues to grow. So this can be a great tool to use with your coach candidates or your client candidates who are considering the program. And then just wrapping it up, registration is supposed to open up at any time. The dates are there on the screen. I would encourage you, whether you are a brand new coach, couple of days in, or decades in, that this is going to be a do not miss event. If you want to capture the energy, the understanding, the excitement of this rebrand and where we're going, like you've just got to be in the room. So we'll share more as we get more on that. And then since we're talking about personal growth, I just posted this in the team page earlier. You can get all the links there. But we are very fortunate that a lot of additional learning and development can be done right here within Optavia with Dr. A's Conscious Leadership Forum. Look at that topic, your thoughts and your emotions, keeping you healthy. And then on Thursday afternoon, Becca Tinter is the guest for the Ascend Talks. So those are our TED Talks. She's got the phrase that changes everything. And I don't know about you, when Becca Tinter talks, I listen. I learn so much from her, and she always does great analogies, things that are very relatable, etc. So well done, everybody. Really, really happy for you. And tonight we're going to talk about, and we've got several team members that are going to share about personal development. And can anybody, it's kind of just off the cuff, share with the group, like, what is your interpretation of personal development? What does it mean? Why does it matter? Growing up, Debbie, very well said. Very well said. Growing up. Well, basically, what I have learned, we've always joked and said that, okay, look, having an open mind, always striving. Is that like striving or trying? Striving? I like it. Having an open mind. Very good, Elizabeth. Good to have you on the call tonight. Being a better human. That was Elizabeth. Good. Excellent. And that's what it's all about. Like every personal development matters because you are the source of everything you create. So your decisions, your leadership, your energy, your relationships, your results. So when you grow as an individual, which means shifting thoughts, different actions, that sort of thing, that has the opportunity for everything in your life to grow with you. And most of us who have been around for a while will probably say that the most challenging yet most rewarding and fulfilling times were when we were in a season of personal growth. And what I realized was, and for those of you guys have been here for a while, like when we were really rocking and rolling, and really as it was on the cusp as we started into our big wave after in 2020, but in 2018, I personally started engaging deep into personal development. And some of you guys know the story, but I had was a hard worker. I had big visions for this business, had made a decision of what I was going to accomplish. And I reached the rank of global director, but it was probably the most challenging, most difficult thing I had done. And I felt like I had coaches, but they weren't moving at the pace I wanted them to. I felt like I couldn't attract new clients. It felt hard. I felt like I was clawing. And I honestly had hit a wall that like, yeah, this is great, but I don't know that I want to do this anymore. And enter personal development. And what I realized was I had a lot of good things in place. I had a great work ethic. I had consistency. I had action in place, but what needed to shift was me. And it was fundamental. And it actually had a ripple effect into every area of my life. And quite frankly, I have felt very stuck lately. I have been finding myself slipping into more negative thought patterns, feeling stuck, spinning my wheels effortlessly. And what I realized is that there's a new level required. As we are shifting and growing as a company and shifting and growing, and we are all developing our businesses, it is going to require a different version of us. And it's not something that you can be like, oh yeah, well, let me go get her and bring her to the table. It really involves starting to do things that get us outside of ourselves and get us outside of our own thinking patterns. Because we have to be able to release old stories, things that we have been attached to, maybe even have somebody from who can be more objective, point things out to us. And it allows us to then start making decisions from a place of clarity versus reactions or avoidance or procrastination or perfectionism and the things that tend to keep us stalled. So I really would love to start with you, Julie Apple Walker, because you've had your own version of personal growth, and through that, actually decided you wanted to develop your own skills to help other people go through personal development. So if you'll just share with us any and everything that you want on this topic.
Yeah. Well, and it was thanks to you because Dee shared about Habit Finder. I think back in 2018 is when I first did a group coaching, maybe with some of you guys, with Paul and Dave. And that was what started, and that was kind of the catalyst for the personal development for me, which was something I had never really heard of in the corporate world or as a personal trainer. So that launched a whole season of doing Habit Finder as a client. And then I ended up working with Amy Kemp as a client of hers, like doing one-on-one coaching. That was the most impactful. I did it a few different times for seasons, and that was the most impactful, man, growing, changing, life altering seasons. So and what it did was open my eyes to different possibilities, and the awareness is what I tell every client. I'm like, the awareness that I gained was unreal. Just about how we can create our own life, and we are in the one creating it. We're in charge. I don't think I ever really looked at it that way. It felt more like things were coming at me. And I always tell clients it's like being in the waves and they're just knocking you down and you're in the ocean and you're just trying to survive instead of, hey, just take 5 steps back and whoa, it's a whole different perspective. And you can watch the waves, but you don't have to be in them. So that really is how I kind of frame coaching now and being a creator of your life. And so I think one of the things I wrote down to share is like the fear. I think that's the thing I see the most with clients is the fear that people have. I'd be curious as far as Optavia, like what do you fear the most? Like put it in the chat. Like what's your biggest fear? Because I think if we all engaged in personal development at a different level, a coach will help you face the fear and do it scared because then the way I like to call it is like it builds that brave muscle and you can just do more because you face the fear and you can keep facing it because you've done it before. So that's one of the biggest things. If you're hesitant or if you've never done personal development, it helps have somebody that will walk through the fear with you. And then the accountability, I think, is the other thing that I see with myself and with clients is having somebody that checks in on you and, hey, we talked about this. Did you reach out to these 30 people that you mentioned wanting to talk to? Oh, no, I just didn't do it. I mean, if you have accountability, you don't have that excuse usually, right? Rejection, failure. Yeah, those are the definite things. But if you get rejected, it's the best thing that happens to you, right? Because then you know I can still keep going if I got rejected. I made it through the hardest days. I can still do this, right? Losing friends who have negative reactions. Yes. But then that's also about you. It's how people look at you. It's the fear of how people look at you, right? But if you are confident in what you do, you don't care what other people say about you, right? So it's all in this perspective shift. So I did tell Dee there's a few things that I've been doing personally and like things you guys could look into because it's been helpful for me. I connected to the chamber here in town where I live, and they had a program for women business owners, and they actually had a grant that the city where I live had provided for women-owned businesses. And so they matched me with this business coach last fall for about 2 or 3 months. I got to work free with this amazing business coach that is like well known in marketing. And she helped me create a whole marketing strategy for my business. Y'all, I paid nothing. But it was the best gift for me. And so I would say if you have a chamber, if you're not connected, go do research. it was on their website. I think it was called Thrive was the program. So maybe look into your chamber and see if they offer something like that as a female business owner, or I think it was minority business owners as well. So that's one thing I wrote down is to check into your chamber and what programs do they offer. I see too all the time in the emails I get, they're teaching different skills. So if you can go and just learn different skills, that would be my other suggestion is there's all kinds of like Facebook events I see, pop-up things, like people are teaching these skills that if you're wanting, I think somebody, Lori put that in the chat is developing new skills and skill sets. That's a huge part of personal development. So find ways if you don't have a lot or don't want to invest a lot, go find these classes that aren't expensive and you can learn a new skill. And then other thing would be like a group mastermind. Like my cousin is an incredible marketing person, and she offered this mastermind last month, and I got to be with like 6 other girls, women, and she did the marketing, taught us everything, and it was like low cost. So if you have connections like that, use them and get into groups and just really focus on growth because I think that's the mindset shift. So hopefully that helps.
Super helpful. Super helpful. And I think I'm also part of a women's mastermind group as well. And we've talked everything about, concepts around money, business strategies. We're going through the book, The Four Agreements right now, where you don't take anything personally, kind of addresses some of this fear of rejection and that sort of thing. And I think that that's where, I think sometimes we think like I just have to do. I have to do more, whatever. But who you are behind that is also probably driving the outcome. And even having somebody who can help us get a different perspective around that fear can make a big difference. So, Julie, great suggestions. Great. I love what you're doing. And it's been fun to see you. You are just such a more calm, different person now. And very open. Very open. And I think that's such a big thing too. When you said learn new skills, so often I'll talk to a coach or something like, well, that's not me, or I'm not a computer person, or I'm not a morning person. There are labels we've given ourselves, but there are ways that we could grow and shift around if it was important to us. So very good. Love it. Love it. How about you, Gina Manley?
So I had never done any kind of personal development, never read a book, listened to a podcast or anything. I joke, why mess with perfection, right? But then when you first start as an Optavia client and you're going through the life book and you realize you're kind of already unlocking your unhealthy habits of thinking, often around food, right? So to me, that translates to Optavia is a personal development company with a side effect of weight loss. And so that got the ball rolling for me. Like Julie, I did a habit finder engagement with Paul and Dave, and then I moved to working with Amy Kemp. And here's what I learned is when you take that habit finder assessment and you realize all the things that you've got strengths in and all the things that it's sort of glaring that, oh, well, I need to work on this. And you really dive further into unlocking what's going on upstairs and how you could make a shift. And when I first did it, I did it with the mindset of, well, this is going to help me grow my business. Well, of course it will. But actually, over time, I realized it actually grew me, and that would ultimately grow my business. And there are just things that I did that, like starting a networking group for women in my community. I don't know that I would have done that if I hadn't kind of dealt with some of the fears that I have and some of the thought habits I had. And I really kind of lay that at the feet of doing the work and really kind of unlocking, as Amy would say, your natural genius. We all have something that really stands out. But when you do, whether it's you're reading a particular book, whether you're working with someone, whether, like Julie said, you're going to your chamber or you're looking for things in your community, the growth that happens is exponential. It really is.
I love that, Gina. It has been really fun to see you grow through the years as well, and just, and really even your energy, and that's what I love about personal growth is we can move from a place of feeling like we're hustling, striving, creating a lot of tension on ourselves, kind of grinding to moving into like clarity, alignment, action, doing things that maybe we didn't think that we would be possible for us before. And so that is a beautiful thing to watch it, to
It
watch it.
is, and one thing I've learned too is the things that you uncover are the things that other people see in you that you didn't see in you. And it's kind of mind-blowing, that, oh, really? You see that? Well, yes, I do. And you really, that it's just made a huge difference. And I still do it. I still work with Amy in one capacity or another um, because it's good for me.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And sometimes, like for me, it wasn't, I think we can be scared. Like Julie might have even mentioned being scared of growth or whatever, but we can be scared because they point out things that we weren't aware of or other people see. We can perceive that as negative, and sometimes there are things that need to be corrected, right? Or shifted. But sometimes it's pointing out your gifts and your strengths and things that you don't see that are in that category of natural genius, things that come naturally to you and whatever. And you can learn how to more enhance what is really works for you. And then maybe not have to, you can shift your energy to work in your strengths. And that can make a huge difference. So it can be a really, really positive experience. And I know we've talked about coaching, et cetera, but like there are, you could spend 10 minutes a day in a personal development book. And if we have time, or we can put it in the comments of this replay of what our favorite books are, there are podcasts you can listen to by personal development gurus, Darren Hardy, Ed Milet, things like that. And then, there's Instagram. I mean, who are you following? Are you following people that have positive mindset shifts? So there are ways to do this very economically and um, efficiently and still expand your mind. So, how about you, Frank?
Oh, I wasn't expected to be called on.
Oh, I thought I had asked you and Shauna, so I thought that,
Oh,
oh, well,
no. Well, I mean, I think I think personal development is probably paramount, but it's like, we used to teach in healthcare. Don't wait to learn everything before you start taking that first blood pressure. All right. You don't need to know everybody's anatomy before you take that first blood pressure. So, get into action. And often personal development will go hand in hand with the mistakes you made because we learn from the mistakes. Like, oh, I should have said that, or I should have done this. So, and then I guess the third thing is, like everybody, the common theme here is link up with a proven mentor that you trust that will be honest with you. And believe me, there's been many calls where Dee has looked at me over Zoom on our personal mentor things and said, Frank, do you know you're doing this? Or do you know you're saying that? Or Frank, you're nah, nah, nah. And they've been wake up calls. They've been wake up. So I'm far from perfect, but she had the guts to say it, and I learned from it. So hopefully that'll help.
yeah, I appreciate that. Really good explanation. Love it. Love it. Beth, we connected over text around this. Can you share?
Yeah, I'll be real quick because I know we're about out of time. So I've been coaching about 10 years and everything went great in the beginning. And then after a few years in, I got stuck, frustrated, and you suggested I do some personal development, which I had no idea even what that was. But I trusted you. So I also too jumped into Habit Finder. Shout out to Dave and Paul and Amy Kemp. I've worked with Amy too, done several of her encounter groups and pause. And during that time, my business did grow and I wasn't really working harder, but I was growing. And I could tell that in my business also. And I also worked with Bob Hylick's group, the Love, Serve, Grow community. And he teaches you how to connect authentically with people through social media. So I won't go into any of that, but we moved about a year and a half ago, and I realized when you asked me if I'd speak about personal development that I have not been doing it. Um, just been busy here getting into the community, meeting new people, doing new things. And then I realized, and because of that, my business has not grown. So it suffered, um, honestly. So then you asked me to share. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't done anything. So then I realized Amy Kemp had a thing about a free class last week. So I jumped onto that. And it was about a specific habit finder thing. And my score is like, oh, I need to take the habit finder assessment again. So then I was like, wait a minute, Dee, you knew all this. So you were sneaky. You got me thinking about it, going, oh yeah, that's what I need to do again. So my tip real quick is to keep it simple. Keep working on yourself, keep learning, keep growing, because when you grow, everything around you grows too.
Oh, so well said. So well said. And the cool thing is that you can pick it up at any time, right? We can pick up a book, right? Like I just realized I was reading a lot more fiction than not. Right now, the one that I am reading is actually a faith-based book, but it's called The Way of Surrender. And so there's something to read every single day around that. So that's loosening the grip, right? Opening the palms and approaching everything in life from a different perspective with that. And as we're wrapping up, Kelly, I know you just shared. Can you share about that podcast or who it is that you are learning from these days?
Well, no, I had just I listened to several podcasts, but this one particular one that I had mentioned to Dee was the Weekly Motivation, Marcus A. Taylor, and he does. It's a conglomerate of different things speaking that he has done, and you hear little excerpts of little pieces that kind of are stringed together. I listen to it when I'm working out usually because it's very pumping up. And he had a lot of really good things. I shared that one with Dee and Frank and Shauna this morning. I was like, because this particular one was really, really good. A book that I've read lately is called Let Them by Mel Robbins. Y'all probably read that one before. I've finally gotten around to reading it. And that one's been very helpful. Let them and let me, basically, is what she talks about.
Yeah, that is excellent. Excellent. Well, if you guys will all do me a favor, when I post the replay for this, if you'll drop your favorite one or two personal development books, podcast, anything you might have for a recommendation, because there'll probably be something on there that somebody else hasn't seen, or newer coaches not really knowing what this is or where to even start. We definitely want to provide a foundation for that. So I would just challenge you to examine yourself. Where are you in this arena, this topic? How could you move forward? And what's one thing you could do this week to start working on yourself as well as working on your business? So thank you guys to everybody that shared. That was really awesome. The community call tonight is on the topic of essential amino acids. That'll be very informative. And then Dan Bell and his daughter Allison do a great call at 8:30. So we will see you guys later. Have a great rest of the week.